Hello, hello, hello. My name is Mubasiniola Ashampala Randall. Welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, hey, how you doing? Welcome to my side of the internet. If you are coming back, thank you for coming back. Comment, let me know what you're liking, what you're loving, what you want to see more of, and take a moment to subscribe if you like what we're doing on my side of the internet. Subscribe, follow me on social media, keep in touch, keep plugged in, and yes, join the tribe. I am 31, and I have been known to say that my 20s was tough. My 20s was very tough, honey. I just was like, what is this? When you think about your 20s, it's really marketed as like, oh, you graduate from college, now you're free, you're an adult, and all these things. You think you have all this power, you're gonna get your dream job, and all these things. You're gonna have it together. Everything is supposed to work out in your 20s, and that cannot be farther from the truth. In fact, I dub my 20s adult puberty. I feel like my 20s was growing pains of becoming an adult. It was confusing. It was awkward. You don't always really have money. So I'm like, how people doing all this extra stuff, honey? What's going on? You are just trying to navigate and find like, what does your adulthood look like for you? And we're already living in times where we couldn't even accomplish a lot of the stuff that our parents and our grandparents did in their 20s because life is so different now. So I have compiled some things that I would tell my 20-year-old self. This is like a dear 20-year-old me. Some things that I wish I did differently, some advice that I just needed to hear, and things that I think are relevant to 20-year-olds today. That is, keep it close to your heart. Keep it close to your heart. Meditate on it. Sit in it. One of my biggest regrets in my 20s is that I did not travel a lot. So I would tell my 20-year-old self, travel, girl, get those stamps on those passports, even travel around the US. There's such a world out there. Go and see it. Go experience it. Don't wait for the trip to leave the group chat. Solo travel is a thing. You can go out there, you can do it for yourself. I actually went on one solo trip to Puerto Rico, I think when I was like 26 or 27, and I loved it. I wish I hadn't waited so long to do that, and I was doing that throughout my 20s. And there's so many ways to travel on a budget, to travel well, to rack points up. So please take this time where you have this freedom and flexibility to travel. Health is wealth. It's a cliche, but it is so true. To be healthy, not just mentally, but spiritually, emotionally, and physically is so, so important. I would advise my 20-year-old self to find a form of exercise that you like and stick to it. Like, I was never going to be a gym girly, like, period. I just was not. But there are other forms of exercise. There's Zumba, there's different types of dance classes, just things that we'll be interested in. And, you can find a workout on YouTube and stick to that and just do that consistently. I think that it's so important to form healthy habits because I see the repercussions now that I'm in my 30s of not committing to forming those healthy habits and just shying away from exercise or not really having the healthiest coping skills with stressful moments and diving into my sweet tooth when I'm really stressed. I wish I could have done things differently. So dear 20-year-old me, curb that sweet tooth, get into exercise. On top of that, I would say you are hella cute, girl. Like you're doing it. There is always a thing with our society where we're never comfortable in our bodies, or we're always striving for this like perfection that is completely unobtainable and changes with the trend. And I feel like during my 20s, I was always trying to achieve a different look or a certain type of body, and I was never really satisfied. And now that I'm on the other side of things in my 30s, I look at my 20-year-old body and I look at my pictures of myself, and I was like, I was much more cute than I thought I was. I was really stressed out about what I wanted to look like, but I was killing it. Like, girl, you look good. I think another thing that influenced me is that a lot of my friends are like skinny minis. I don't know how I ended up with a lot of skinny friends. I have some thick friends, like shout out to the thick girls, but I have a lot. Like most of my friends were tiny girls. So maybe I was subconsciously feeling like I have to be smaller, but no, girl, I was hella cute. I was hella cute. And I'm really trying to, that's like my goal body now, to get back to that size. Like it's not, I was never going to be a skinny girl. That's not my goal, but to be the size that I was like in my late 20s, I feel like it looked good. That's when I looked my best. So I would tell her like, girl, you look good. You are so cute. Like be satisfied with who you are and still strive to be better. Still strive to, achieve greatness, but be satisfied, confident in who you are as well too. There is a time, this is a big one. There is a time to listen to your parents and there's a time to listen to yourself. So I look back in my 20s and I realized that, look, my parents always have the best interests at heart, but they're coming from a different perspective, a different generation. They're immigrants. They are, part of that generation that works for 30 years and retires, etc. So there was a lot of advice that they were giving me, or trying to discourage some of the ideas that I had, or trying to make me like balance being practical with unpractical, having a plan B, C, D. And a lot of that distracted and confused me in my 20s. So I would say that there is a time to listen to your parents because they do give great advice and they have my best interest at heart. But there's a time to listen to myself. Like they were not me. They didn't have my vision. They didn't have my thought process. They still don't have that, and I'm better at it now. But yeah, knowing when to listen and when to be quiet is really important. I saw a video from J. Cole where he was saying that he doesn't even give, like, he loves his mama, but he don't even really give his mama the opportunity to discourage him. Like, he keep it to himself until it's done, and then he'd be like, look at what I did. And I wish that I had done that more, saying like, you may not get the vision, but let me show you better than I can tell you, because having those conversations can be really discouraging sometimes, or you just feel like you have to balance so much in order to achieve your goals and maintain realism, whatever that means. So there's a time to listen to them, and there's a time to listen to yourself. If you're in your 20s and you are single, enjoy being single. We have a culture that is always chasing love, chasing relationships, chasing companionships. And that's good. That's beautiful. That's important. But enjoy the time with yourself. In the quest to chase relationships and chase these romantic relationships, we often don't take the time to know ourselves, to work on ourselves, to reflect, to see what we can do better, and to just enjoy me time. Like, once you get married, once you have children, like, me time is a dime a dozen, even less than that. Like, it's not the same way that you have when you are single, and you can want all those things, pursue all those things, but also take time to love on you and who you are, and just get to know that person and strive to be better for that person. We always talk about people trying to be better for somebody else, but you need to try and be better for you. Like, enjoy this season. It is such a small period of time compared to the big scope of the rest of your life. So take this me season, let it be me season, like, bet on you, love on you, and spend time being single and really nurturing yourself, pouring into yourself, and knowing that that time is sacred, it is short, and it can be amazing if you really take advantage of it. This is a discovery period. Your 20s is a discovery period. I know that they say like, oh, you should have it all together, or you should figure things out, or if you went to college, now that you've graduated, everything. This is a discovery period. Your 20s is an opportunity for you to make mistakes, to fail, get back up again, fail 3, 4, 5, 30, 60 times again, but to get back up. This is a discovery period for you to find out also what you like, what you're really meant to do, what you're really meant to be. One of the things that I've realized in my 20s is that I had made all these plans and these goals. And when I got to adulthood, after graduating from college, it didn't really work out that way. Some things that I had dreamed of, I had hyped up in my mind so much, and it just did not live up to those expectations. And your 20s is for you to really discover. One of the things that I wish I did better was move from job to job, especially in my career. Like, sometimes it's easy to just get something and just want to be comfortable and stick it out. Again, dragging into that feeling of how your parents stay in one place for a long time. But we live in a different time today. One of the things that I think is so important to really sit inside of you in your 20s or any time in your life, but especially then, is that when you go into these careers, when you go into these job spaces, you're not there for them to validate your worthiness of being in the room or validate your worthiness of being there. You are there to find out, is this for me? Is this a good fit for me? Does this fit for the lifestyle that I want? Does this fit for my goals? You are going to say, like, is this going to work for me? And if it doesn't, or what am I going to learn here? If it doesn't, I can move on. It's okay. And I think that we approach it a lot from the aspect of, like, do I deserve to be here? Or do I deserve to be in the room? Or what can I add? Or how can I add value to this place? But we really need to change the conversation of saying, like, well, how does this place add value to me? How does this help me? Is this me doing what I really want to do, or what is good for me, or is this good for my lifestyle? Because if it's not, you can make a change. And that's the beautiful thing about your 20s, because you don't have as much as responsibilities, or you don't have as much, like, it's not do or die so much. You can move on to other things, try new things for the first time, or try something you've never heard of, or just move from company to company and figure out what works for you. Is an opportunity for you to really do that well. If you are comfortable, you are doing it wrong. You cannot grow inside your comfort zone. It is a natural human ability or a human want to always strive to be comfortable, but it gets to a point where sometimes you are comfortable and you're not growing. You are getting complacent, or you are staying in places where you're not pursuing those things that are really burning fires inside of you. So if you are comfortable, you're probably doing it wrong. You need to do it scared. Like, you need to do it terrified. You need to approach it and chase after it with those butterflies in your stomach. Like, that is okay. That's where you're really challenging yourself to break those glass ceilings, to break those barriers, to break those chains of fear that are having you in a chokehold. Like, you need to conquer it. So don't get too comfortable. Don't pursue comfort too much. Grow, grow, grow. And that happens outside your comfort zone. Try as many new things as possible. You have nothing to lose. You have much more to gain than you have to lose. There is opportunity. Like, the world is so big. The world is so big. They say the world is your oyster. Like, there's so much out there for you. Try something one time. Do it, like, do a cooking class, try some new recipes, learn to do a sport or paint. There's so many different things that you could do and try, and you never know what you're good at. You can find a crazy new skill that you would have never come across, that you've never heard of, just by trying new things. If you don't have the money to invest in these activities, go to YouTube University. Like, people are learning amazing things on YouTube: how to cook, planting, starting farms, nesting, having like amazing skills, making bags, making shoes, sewing. Like, people are learning so many things today just by taking classes, trying it for one time, and finding out that, wow, they're really good at it, or this is something that they're really passionate about. It's therapeutic. You may find out that you're bad at a lot of things, and that's okay too. But at least you tried. It expands your experience, it expands your knowledge, and you can say, you know what? It's something that I can add to the color of my life. Pay attention to who people are. Do not rewrite them based on how you want to experience them or how they are solely with you. Also pay attention to how they are with other people, how they speak about other people. Are they gossiping? Do they always have something negative to say? Because chances are when you're not in the room, you are the subject. You want to really accept people for who they are, even if it's devastating to you. Sometimes we rewrite who people are based on who we want them to be or how we want to experience them, and that ends up being a detriment to us at one point or another. Either we keep that relationship too long, or that relationship begins to seep inside of us and change our character and our outlook and the way we speak and all of those things. So we need to be careful, cognizant, aware, and accepting of who people are, no matter what they are, and, abide accordingly. Intimidation is a lie. Intimidation is a lie from the pits of hell. There is nothing and no one that I have ever been intimidated by that a few years from then I wasn't like, really? You? That? I could have conquered that. Like, intimidation is a lie. This is another time where I tell you, like, do it scared, do it intimidated, do it with butterflies in your tummy, because you being intimidated by an opportunity, a person, a thing, a position, it's a figment of your imagination. It's not that it's not valid, it's just not a reason to keep you behind. It's not a reason to keep you from. It's not a reason to be a blocker or a barrier. Like, conquer that intimidation. You also deserve to have a seat at the table, to have a voice in the conversation. Don't let anything or anyone remove that from you. Speak up. Your voice matters. Your ideas matter. You have something to offer. Your superpower is that no one else is you. No one else has your unique perspective, sees life the way you do, has gone through every single thing that you've gone through. That's your superpower. So you matter. What you have to say, your ideas, everything, all of that matters. Don't let anyone, anything convince you otherwise. Simultaneously, be open to ideas that conflict with yours or that are the opposite of yours. I'd also say take time to learn what other people are thinking if they disagree with you, and try to understand them. Don't listen to them to respond. Don't listen to them to shut them down or try and negate everything they say or argue with them. Listen to them to understand. Even if you still disagree after trying to understand them, you gained a new perspective, you gain more information, and it expands your brain and the process and the way that you process things. So your voice matters, but also listen to what other people have to say and meditate on it and see what other perspectives are like. You don't have all the answers, and that is okay. You don't know everything. That's fine. You'll learn along the way, and the answers will even change as you keep on going through life. You do not have to have it all together. Stick it through. You get started, life happens, you get discouraged, you leave it by the wayside, you start procrastinating, you'll say, I'll get back to it. You're waiting for the perfect time. Just go forward. See it through, commit, honor your commitment, and see how it works out. Even if it doesn't work out, at least you were able to stay consistent. Do your best, put your best foot forward in everything you do, no matter how small or large it is. Sometimes we think that our contributions don't count, especially when you're your 20s. You're like, oh, no one's looking at me, no one's taking me seriously, or, Pete, you feel like you're being overlooked, but do it with excellence. It contributes to your reputation. It defines how people see you, that when they ask you to do things or when you volunteer to do things or just when your name is thrown in there, what do people think of? When you do things with excellence, people attach you to excellence and say, no matter what task you give so and so. They will make it happen and do it well. You don't have to look over them all the time or over their shoulder or micromanage. And that is so important, to do everything with excellence. And it also gives you a marker of what you want to put out into the world and how you want to look at your own work and be proud of it. So do everything that you do with excellence. You never know who's watching, and you want to have a reputation of someone who does things well, no matter what, even the smallest of tasks, the most minute of tasks, but you do it and give it your best self. Nigerian people have a saying that they always say to their kids, like, does that person have two heads? Meaning that when you see someone who is doing well or who may be quote unquote doing better than you, do they have two heads? Good question. What makes them so great? There's nothing so special about them. They're a person just like you. So if this person who does not have two heads, who lives, breathes, and walks through the world just like you can do it, then you can do it too. We look at people and we romanticize or make them really great in our minds about what they can do and what they're doing, but they're just like us. They're people who achieved something, who conquered something, who pushed it through. We look at people who are celebrities or who are wealthy or who are in positions of power or who are just doing things that we want to do, and we say, oh, this person had this to their advantage or that to their advantage, or they're super and they're different, but they're just people who push through whatever it is that's challenging them and made it happen. If they can do it, you can do it too. They do not have two heads. Keep going. Live a life that is reflective of what you want out of life overall. So we all have different visions for our lives about what we want, what we expect, how we want to live. But the problem comes in when we don't line up the way that we're living with that. Like if you want to be healthy, but you have terrible eating habits. If you want to be wealthy, but you don't save no money. Like you have to live a life that is reflective of what you want. Once you set these ambitions, once you set these goals, change your habits as well. It's not easy to change your habits. It's introducing new things to your life and trying to stick to it, no matter how difficult it is. But you will have that commitment aid your future, and you'll end up in a place in the future that you will thank your younger self for. So envision the life you want and start to live and behave like the person who lives that life. One of the things that I loved hearing when I was younger was that dress for the job you want, or dress for the way that you want to be addressed. That you may not have it all together, you may not have accomplished it yet, but just dressing the way you want to be addressed or how you want people to perceive you or engage with you is a powerful thing of how you put your energy out there. And that can be applied to all different aspects of life. The way that you think, the way that you talk, the way that you eat, the way that you walk, the way that you do things, interact with people, who you interact with, who you shut out of your life can define what that vision that you have will actually end up being when it's executed. Stack your coin, develop financial habits that are good and aid for you to building wealth. When we're younger, we think like, oh, we have time, or oh, this is not the time to save for retirement, and this is not the time to do this, or I just want to spend my money and blow my money, or we don't know what to do. And sometimes we just get so frustrated that we don't know what to do. We say, oh, I'm not a financial whiz, or I don't understand stocks, I don't understand this, and then negate that. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean you can't learn it. It doesn't mean you have to be a financial wizard to make good spending habits and good money decisions. One thing that I would advise, looking back on my 20s, is that get a high yield savings account. Max out your Roth IRA, or try your best to contribute to your retirement, even if it's a little bit. Invest in stocks. Start with the stocks that you already use for companies that you love, things that you already love. You may not have to understand it, but what the company does, you use them consistently. Look into those stocks. How can you get a part of that? And do some research. There are so many ways to learn things, whether you are a reader, you're a visual learner, you can go online, follow the blogs, and just learn as much as possible. Or Get a wealth manager. You're not too young to get a wealth manager. Somebody who's coming straight out of school and is learning. Like, you don't have to get the most expensive person, but find someone who knows better than you and can give you some sort of direction, or find a group of people, a whole bunch of people that know better than you, and try to learn from them. Like, how can you maximize your dollar? It's not just about living paycheck to paycheck or blowing it on a bag or some shoes or a trip, but also figure out, how can I save money? Even if you save the littlest amount, $1, $2, even $5 a month or a week, it is something. Over the years, it accumulates, it adds up, but you don't just want to save money, you also want to make your money work for you. So stacking your coin is not just you putting another dollar, putting another bag on there. It's also saying, okay, how can I make this money work for me? Figure out what that looks like for you. No one benefits from you dimming your light. No one benefits from you hiding your authentic self. No one benefits from you shying away from adding value in the special way that you do. Do not dim your light for anyone. Don't put yourself in a box. Don't hide away those things that make you uniquely you and make you so beautiful and funny or charming or weird. Like, be authentic with who you are. We gain nothing by you hiding who that is. Your tribe is a reflection of who you are. Your tribe are your friends, your family, who you hang out with, who you have close proximity with, who you spend your time with, who you share your ideas with, who you go back and forth with. Like, your tribe reflects who you are, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with the way your friends are behaving, whether you are the different one or not. They reflect who you are. They add to your reputation as a person, but they also pour into you consciously and subconsciously. You may not realize it, you may not think it all the time. You may think, oh, okay, I may not agree with those ideas, but I love this person, or I want to keep this person around, or this person, you may compartmentalize them, but they are pouring into you. They are reflecting on you in some way, shape, or form. Are you okay with that? Because also, you want to think about, well, if I want to live my best life, if I have a vision for my life, if I have all these goals for my life, does my friend group reflect that? Does my friend group embody a group of people that we can grow together? Is my tribe reflective of all the things that I hope to accomplish in life? Or is the math not mathing? Like, if you want to do all these great things, but you have people who maybe have lower ambitions than you, or just have habits that are insane compared to what you want to do for your life, what is the purpose of the connection? How is it feeding you? How is it adding value to you? And is it holding you back? Pay attention to how people treat you, and what they say to you, and what they say about you. Pay attention, listen, mark it down, let it sit inside your spirit, and ask yourself, do I feel good around this person? Do I feel safe around this person? When this person speaks to me and or about me, is it in a way that holds me accountable, or is it a way that tears me down? Is their honesty brutal, or is their honesty convicting and makes me a better person? You want to take survey of how people regard you, what their heart towards you is like. I made a video about praying about your friend group, because you want to make sure that you are surrounded by people in your close proximity who have intimacy with you, that really do have a heart for you, and sift those who do not out. Trust your spirit about people, places, and things. There is some things that we may not always know, that gut feeling that's inside of us, we may not always know what's driving it, but it can save us. It can keep you from harm's way. It can keep you from bad relationships. It can keep you from vibes that just do not vibe with you at all. Like, be cognizant of those things. Do not ignore your gut feelings. Your gut feelings tell you a lot of things about who you should and should not let in your life, who has overstayed their welcome, places you should and should not go, things that you should or should not allow in your life. Like, our gut feelings are always telling us, but sometimes, a lot of times, we ignore it. I would definitely tell my 20-year-old self, like, honor your feelings, honor that spirit, honor your gut, because just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not doing something powerful that's either helping you or edifying your life. are not behind. I would yell this. I would yell this at my 20-year-old self. You are not behind. Relax. Take it easy. You have so much more life to live. Everything is happening in its time. Forgive yourself for the mistakes you made. Forgive yourself for the times you feel you didn't show up the way you wanted to or needed to for yourself. Forgive yourself for the opportunities that you gave up and the things that you kept hidden. Forgive yourself and understand there is still more time. You are not behind. Things will happen for you the way they're supposed to. Just keep going. Don't get stuck. Don't get complacent. Don't get sad, and just stay still. Keep going. There's more life for you. You're not behind. Every year you're getting better. Every year you're getting more knowledge. 5 years from now, you'll still looking like, wow, look at what I accomplished in this time. Like, keep pushing forward. Even though time is short, it's passing by. It's there for you. It is a currency that you can't pay to get back. There is more for you. Keep going. You're not behind. Don't get too frustrated. Don't get caught up. Be present. You cannot get time back. Be present in where you are and give your energy to this time and this place. One thing that I was notorious for is always looking toward the future. And that doesn't sound bad, right? Because you're looking for the future, you're planning for the future, and you're optimistic about how things will be. But for me, it was a detriment because I always lived in the future. I was never satisfied with the present. I was never content with where I was. I always was like, oh, I'm not closer to my dreams, or I'm not this, I'm not that. Like I was always looking forward to the future, or I'll do this when this adds up, and always moving the parameters to when I'll be good, or when I'll be accomplished, or when I'll be satisfied with things. And always living in the future self doesn't allow you to be present. And practicing being present and saying, well, I'm here now. I'm doing this now. I'm giving my best now. I am starting, or I'm growing. And this is also good. This is also worthy of love and acknowledgement. And it's going to lead me to the place in the future. I can still plan for the future and work towards the future. But let me just be cognizant of being here now in this time, in this place, because I'm never going to get this moment back again.